The Navy Federal one usually graduates anywhere from 6 to 12 months. So those are two really good secured credit cards to kind of start off with. But oftentimes, you're going to need something beforehand, right? You're going to need those, stepping stones is what I like to call them. Sometimes they're going to be like a First Progress or an Open Sky or, some of the worst secured credit cards that we can potentially get that have a hefty interest rate and a hefty yearly fee and, possibly even a monthly fee. But at the same time, we have to get those in order to get to the next step because we have to use it as a stepping stone. Banks like to see progression, right? And that's why I always tell everyone that comes to me that wants business trade lines thinking that it's going to be the end all be all solution for them. I'm like, no, take that money, invest it into your personal credit. You buying business trade lines is a waste of time and money for you right now, right? Put that into your personal credit because you need to have comparable credit on the personal side. And if you're going to do a pledge loan, yeah, the minimum is only $250, I think, right? But do you want a $250 credit card? Do you want a $500 credit card? You need to ask yourself that because that's what you're going to get if you do like a $250 pledge loan, right? We got to up the ante. So if we have to wait a bit, it's probably better. Even if you have to use all of the funds off of a credit card, borrow the funds, maybe your mom has some money in a savings account, you guys can get on the pledge loan together, okay? That way you're not even touching it and it's still in her account. You could just be a co-borrower on it. You have to get creative. I had one lady, she did a pledge loan with her credit card that she got approved with the Navy Federal. Now she had a long-term relationship with Navy Federal. She had direct deposit for many years. She's had CD accounts with them. So she had a long existing relationship with them. So she was able to get an $11,000 credit card off the bat as soon as she kind of figured out Navy Federal was the place to go to get credit cards. She used the money from her credit cards, did a balance transfer into her checking account, moved that money to her savings account, and then did a pledge loan with that. So, sometimes we just got to get creative, right? Let's talk about the relevant laws for disputing negative accounts on your credit report, because this was one of the things that was so confusing to me when I first started, because there's so many different laws. There's so many different organizations out there. So it can all kind of sound like the same. But the most important ones are the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA. That's going to be for the credit bureaus, essentially, right? We've got the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which is the FDCPA. We talked a lot about that with Vance when he came on. So if you guys haven't watched that video with Vance, where he actually has won millions of dollars from suing debt collectors, like that's his whole thing. He's been in the credit repair space for over 15 years. And that's what he does. He sues debt collectors and he's really good at it. And we also have the Truth in Lending Act, TILA, Fair Credit Billing Act. We have the Credit Repair Organization Act, which is the CROA. Those are all things that you got to become familiar with if you are going to be in this space, right? Because one thing that a lot of people that are in this space say is, they can't stand coming after somebody who didn't know what they were doing, right? And I say the same thing. Sometimes I'll look at a credit report and I'll be like, why did you dispute this account? And they'll be like, well, I don't know. I paid someone $1,000 for credit repair, or I paid someone $5,000 for credit repair. I have these two brothers and they're not from this country and they got taken advantage of by someone that was like a part of their community essentially, and he was from the Ukraine, right? So they instantly had trust because he was from the Ukraine, but he is actually from America, and he was scamming people, charging them like $6,000 for credit repair and then not doing shit about it, right? And I was like, wow, that's so crazy. So I'm like, what the hell did they do?